Hey, what's up? My name is Jesse Dow, and I'm a top 100 influencer agent here at eXp Realty. I'm also a six-time Icon agent, and I've closed over 832 transactions on the eXp platform. Now, I've also generated over $1.1 million in earned revenue share, and I've also earned over $200,000 in eXp stock through the Quilter program. Now, this channel gives you elite behind-the-scenes access to real numbers, real strategies, and all the updates here at eXp Realty so you can make the most informed decisions for you and your business. Now, if you're a serious agent that's looking for multiple revenue streams and real growth, this channel is for you, so consider subscribing. And today I'm going to talk about the 3 different brokerage types that agents look at to support their business. Now remember, if you're an agent that's looking at different real estate brokerage models, you must understand there's really, before I get into the 3 types, there's something that even goes above that, and that is the franchise model versus the non-franchise model. What do I mean by that? Now, every brokerage out there says independently owned and operated, or this is a franchise that's independently owned and operated. Those are the Keller Williams, Remax, Sotheby's, and the list goes on. It's basically, in my opinion, it's probably like 80% of the real estate industry is a franchise. Now, the reason that's important to note is because as hard as they try to get everyone on the same platform, it's very fragmented. So when I was, 2 years into the game and my business was exploding, I kept hitting my head on the ceiling. And every time I moved from franchise to franchise, which only happened once, I consistently saw the same issues, right? That they might have solved something for that moment, but I was back in the same position after a couple months. Now, the biggest problem with the franchise model is really expansion. So you might not think like, well, I'm really going to be expanding my business. I'm a local agent, yada, yada, yada. Well, the one thing that you're restricted to is just the agents in that office. Now, I know like when it comes to off the market listings, you can basically do broker to broker sales through the whole state or the whole office. And this is what a lot of companies do. So like say in California, any Remax agent can pre-market their listings to any other Remax agent in the state. And that's like how they try to eliminate and overcome that objective. But I'm just telling you that when it comes to true collaboration, especially when there's multiple franchises in one market, they're all competing with each other, and it just creates this very aggressive dichotomy of friction. And for example, when I was at Next Home, there was 3 or 4 different franchise owners in the same market, and they try to, do things together, but it'd only be a select few agents from each office. But when you got up to the hierarchy, is you had other franchise owners trying to snipe the other agents into their market center, and it was not good culture. And so that's like the biggest problem I see with franchise. And also, let's just say you're in a border state, like I was in Oregon and Washington, I had to be if there's 2 different franchise owners in Oregon and Washington, you had to pay double the cap. So that's really a couple of the main reasons that I loved getting to a one brokerage platform like eXp, is because we have one system for everybody. Everybody gets to learn the exact same thing. We have a massive, robust support, and it really accelerated my business from 10 million to 50 million to 100 million in less than 2 years. And so when you're like, well, that math doesn't add up. Well, I did 10 years, 10 million the year before I was at eXp. My first year in eXp, I did 50 mil. Second year, I did 100 million. And so I've been here for 5.5 years. I 6-timed Icon, and that means, and that's right here, that's when you hit a production level, you get $16,000 in stock, plus these like cool trophies. A lot of companies hand out plastic trophies, and then a Starbucks gift card is what they give you. And, I don't really like that. I like monetary stuff when it comes to valuable rewards. And, a lot of companies try to add in this like revenue share, and they like, oh, we give you something for recruiting. And it's just all, everyone's trying to compete with eXp. And at the end of the day, like there's all of these technologies that are coming out, and I'll actually save that for another video. So make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk about the technologies and what it looks like for the future of real estate, because we had a really good conversation this morning on the backs of the Mike Del Prete event in Colorado, where they brought in all the leaders of every organization of the real estate industry. So I'm talking like the Zillows, Homes.com, eXp, Compass, etc. And they talked about the future, which is really exciting. So I was really here to talk about the 3 different brokerage types And what do they mean for your business? So what are the three types? A split with no cap. A split with no cap. For example, Berkshire Hathaway is the one that always comes to the top of mind. Is they do anywhere from an 80-20 split with no cap. So that means they take 20% of every single one of your deals, and there's never a ceiling. And what they say about that, and the reason why they say they have no cap, is because they say they don't want you focusing on production, and they think that the agent isn't going to serve the client at the highest level. Like they're going to be like just rushing through these transactions. I'm sorry to say that is not the way it works. If you are in a split with no cap model or a flat fee with no cap model, you are wasting your money. I'm just here to tell you the straight facts, and we'll get into that here in a second. And I've compared the models side by side. I've brought over many Berkshire agents, and once they see the math, it's lights out, because the level of support and the level of tools and the training that you get over here versus a model like that, especially if you're an agent that's doing beyond, let's just say 8 deals a year, it's insanely different. So if you want to look at the model side by side, literally whatever brokerage you're at, it doesn't matter. Grab my QR code right here, just scan it with your phone, it'll go right to my Calendly link. We'll set up a call, we'll look at the numbers side by side, and we'll take it to the next level and see if there's an option that's better for you. And if not, it's not a big deal. The second model type is a cap with a split with a cap model. And that's exactly what like eXp Keller Williams has. It's at eXp, it's an 80-20 split, and once you hit that, you go 100%. So we'll talk more about that here in a second. And then the third type is a flat fee model. And a flat fee is where they basically just charge you $250, $500 per transaction, and that's the end of it. You know, what do they supply you with? A lot of times it's like a couple little brokerage tools, and then other than that, it's really nothing. So there's a couple pros and a couple cons to each model. The split with no cap, which was brokerage option 1, just makes absolutely no sense to me. And really what brokerages use this as is they're using their brand is the reasoning of your success. Just note, you are you no matter what brand is supporting your business. It doesn't matter if it says eXp, it doesn't matter if it says Coldwell Banker, it doesn't matter if it says Compass. Nobody cares 2 cents about what brokerage is supporting you as a real estate professional. I've helped over 1,000 agents through my organization. I've helped probably 30% of them transition over to eXp. Not one single time in the history of all of the moves we've made, and these are brokerages and teams, big brokerages, big agents, even solo agents doing small deals, small amounts, say 2-3 deals, but they have one in escrow. Never once did their client say, I'm not going to work with you now because you're moving brokerages. That's absurd. The brokerages that use that as their power play are fooling you, and they are taking you to the cleaners. So don't be fooled by that. That is insane. I met with a Berkshire agent not too long ago. They were on a 95-5 split, no cap, huge volume team, and they were giving Berkshire, the team lead alone was giving Berkshire over $100,000 a year, and she thought she was on a great deal. Now I see this all the time. Is you hear that this cap is so low, you don't think there's anything better out there, so you never look. And honestly, a lot of people don't want to disrupt their real estate business, so they're never actually out there looking for opportunities. As a business owner, you should always be looking at how to increase your profitability without doing any extra work. That is like business 101. So like I always say, if you're hammering nails on a board and someone's willing to give you $20 and someone's willing to give you $100, but there's absolutely no strings attached and it's all an even playing field, you would be a fool to take the $20 an hour over the $100 an hour when everything is equal. And then you say, well, there's got to be some catch. There is no catch. That's my point. And this is like when people have that aha moment and they're like, oh my gosh, because a lot of these brokerage say like, we want you focusing on your clients, not your production. Oh, that's a really good way to make you feel guilty by focusing on your business, when at the end of the day, it's all about making a profit, selling more homes, helping more clients. And if you're just sitting there, like, let's just say you just do your thing and you're paying, and you do 10 deals. I just did the math. 10 deals on $500,000, a $500,000 sale. That would be $5 million in production. That's not a ton. 5 deals. Well, in the eXp model, you would be capped after 7 transactions, and you'd pay 16 grand total. You would earn at 2.5% commissions. You would earn 125,000 total. 109 to you, the agent, 16,000 to eXp, and you would get some stock for that too, and some other benefits. In a non-cap model, same exact split, 80-20 split, you would earn $100,000, and the brokerage would get 25 grand. So they would get an extra $9,000 based on your production by you doing the exact same thing. So if you came over here, you would actually save $9,000. And think about when you go beyond that, because remember, eXp is where the pros go to grow. So you're surrounded by top producers, and one of the fastest way to grow your business is by being surrounded by other people doing the things that you want to do. Remember, don't ever take advice from somebody that doesn't have the life or doing the things that you want to do. I hear all the time, people will be like, oh, my Uncle Tom told me it's a horrible time to buy. Well, how many houses does Uncle Tom own? Oh, he rents. Perfect. Is he doing what you want to do? And look, I don't disregard anything anyone ever says. I always want to educate myself and listen. But at the end of the day, numbers don't lie. People do all the time. Or they're just spewing the information that they've heard from someone because it's one of their core beliefs. So the no capping model, I don't care what the split is. It could be a 97-3. Without looking at the numbers side by side, which I highly encourage you to do, it could be, you could be paying crazy amounts of money and you don't even know it. The split with a cap, in my opinion, and I've looked at every model side by side, is if you're somebody that's doing less than 7 deals in all of these models, it doesn't matter. 7 deal agent a year, it's always going to look almost identical. And I always say it's usually 7 to 20 because of fees included after you cap and whatnot. It usually all looks almost exactly the same. It's within like a couple $1,000. However, what happens is the agents that go beyond, let's just say 20 deals and beyond, that's when the no cap, the split with no cap, and the flat fee models know they lose their agents. This is why when you look at those brokerage models, there typically is not top producing agents in those models, because they know that as soon as they hit the threshold, which I said 20, it's typically 8 and beyond is where the agents start seeing a diminished ROI, because they know they can go into a cap model like eXp, KW, et cetera, and they're gonna earn more of their money back. Now, if you know that the 80-20 split with no cap is the best option, then why just wouldn't you do it? Well, a lot of reasons: fear, change, the unknowns, right? That's what a lot of people are fearful of. Oh, I'm comfortable over here. Why would I make a change, right? Or even if they move brokerages and they didn't see an increase in their business, they don't want to be looked at as the villain because they didn't do the work. I think that's probably the top fear, is they don't want to be exposed. And a lot of people are focused on their ego. They want to be the big fish in the little pond. I love the old saying, small minds chase small opportunities. And it couldn't be further from the truth when I see these agents trying to jump into these brokerage to get in early. Because you look at the average sales per brokerage, per agent, eXp is like one of the top brokerages for average sales per agent. We're also the largest brokerage, so we shouldn't have those two numbers. They shouldn't go hand in hand, because the bigger you are, the lower your average sales per agent is. That means we only attract top producing agents. So if you're a new agent, or you're an agent that's just starting, or you're looking to level up your game really fast, the fastest way to do that, I'm telling you, I've seen it happen dozens of times over. Come to eXp, boom. I brought over a 45 agent brokerage back in April of 2025. We are now in we're July 2025. Actually, he came over, in April. In June of 2025, they had the biggest number of sales in their recorded history of their brokerage by moving over here. And he was just like, it's mind-blowing how eXp has all of this support, and that is probably the number one differentiator between eXp and all these other brokerages, especially the pop-up ones, is the level of support. I just recently interviewed a former real agent and a former LPT agent, top producing team leads. They both said the exact same thing. They said, was the user interface different in those models? Yes. Was there anything different that really set them apart? No. The number one thing that was the biggest downgrade when I went to those brokerages was the level of support. eXp grows the layers of support based on the agent count. We're a growth company. So you never have to worry about the support here. We have a brokerage team, associate broker team, accounts team, and commission demand team for every single state, every single location based on agent count. The more agents, the more layers of support. They just keep rinsing and repeating that same model. Whether you have a contract compliance question, etc., you just walk right in, have a conversation, boom, get your issue fixed, wipe your hands, move on to the next. There's nothing that's holding you up. Like I always say, eXp has removed all of these barriers. But the third option is the straight transaction fee model. Now here where I live, the biggest brokerage in the state is a transaction-based model. It's a flat fee model. It's like $250 a transaction. Agents love it because that's all they pay. But at the end of the day, they get nothing in return. So if you're an agent doing 10 deals, you're gonna pay them $2,500 a year. An agent thinks that's the greatest thing in the world. Now, the one thing I will tell you is that their average sales per agent is 3 deals per year. That tells me that they attract a low producing agent. And typically in the flat fee model, especially like something like Fathom, and then there's a lot of variable ones out there. United and Fathom are the top two. And just remember, whatever bracket you're looking at, whether it's the split with no cap, split with cap, or flat fee, there is always a king of that specific bracket. The split with no cap, anywhere is the king. So if you want to know about anywhere brands, you're talking about Better Homes and Gardens, Century 21, Coldwell Banker Bain, Sotheby's, ERA, Corcoran. Those are the anywhere brands. Split, no cap, anywhere dominates that segment, but they have all of those brokerages in one pie. So of course they're going to dominate that. The split with a cap, eXp is the dominant force. We're at 90,000 global agents today. Our goal is to be at 200,000. And I know a lot of agents will be like, well, you guys said 500,000. Even one time we heard 1 million. That was a very, very aggressive number back before there was no competition. And what do I mean by that is, like, moving forward into the future, there is a lot more cloud-based brokerage models. And, you know, a lot of them even existed before COVID. They just never got traction until COVID came in and eXp proved that the model worked. And then the flat fee model, the king of flat fee is Fathom and United. So I always say success leaves clues. And when you look at those different models, just look and see, you know, you can go to Real Trends. I just looked at the Real Trends number, and there was over 786 teams and agents on the Real Trends number for 2025. 786 eXp agents and teams. That is insanity. That is insanity. And every day you consistently, and you might not want to be a top producing agent, and eXp might not even be the right brokerage for you, and that is okay. It's all about being informed, knowing what the data and the information is. Personally, if I was starting my real estate career over right now, and they said, Jesse, what, like, you knowing what you know today, what would you do? This would be the biggest no-brainer in my life. I would literally pick up the phone, and I'd schedule a call right here on this Calendly with me, and I would set up a 30-minute call. And if I was a solo agent, team lead, whatever, trying to accelerate your business, use me as a consultant. Say, Jesse, how would you do it? Depending on where you are, new agent, team lead, brokerage owner, I'm going to show you the pathway to success. It doesn't matter. You decide not to partner with me, no hard feelings. I literally just worked on recruiting somebody for over 5 years. And what I mean by that is I just had an ongoing conversation. 5 years in, and we rolled out co-sponsorship. So if you haven't seen any of my co-sponsorship videos, go watch my co-sponsorship playlist where I interview the top agents at eXp, where we can discuss co-sponsoring. Now, this agent, 5 years in, finally says he's ready to make the move. And I said, you know, I talked to him about co-sponsorship. I'm like, hey, here's some great options, blah, 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 blah. He finally decided to make the move in. And he said, I'm going to select someone else. And I want you to be the co-sponsor. And I was like, that's fantastic. Let's go. And no hard feelings whatsoever. And if I was upset about that, that would prove to me that my ego was in the way of the best decision for that agent. And that's where I think a lot of people get things wrong here at eXp, honestly. is these recruiters or these agents that have organizations, they're like, well, you stole my agent. And I'm like, what do you mean I stole your agent? I was talking to them first. It's like, nobody can lay claims to any agents out there. We all have the same platform. We're all doing the exact same thing. Now, am I picking up call phone, hardcore dialing agents every day to recruit them? Absolutely not. It's all done through social media. It's all done through my relationships. And all I'm doing, just like I'm doing here with this YouTube channel, is I'm exposing the truth, and I'm just showing you the options that are out there so you can make the best informed decision for your business. Because at the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to. It's all about building a long-term sustainable business that's profitable. Bigger is not always better. Profitable is better. When people say bigger is better, they're looking at the vanity metrics, and then the people that are fooled by that are the people that don't understand the real estate business. And those are not the people I want to be partnered with. I do not want to be partnered with people that are fooled by vanity metrics. And it happens every day. I see it every single day in this industry. So, my rally cry to you. Number 1, understand your business. Number 2, develop a plan. And then number 3 is always explore your options to see if there's a better opportunity out there. Guess what? 90% of the time, those opportunities aren't even going to come through. And don't let anybody ever hard sell you into doing something you don't want. If you ever want to book a call and have a conversation, jump right on this QR code. Let's have that. Or you can go down in the description, check it out. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. And until next time, we'll catch you later.